Rob Victim, what's good?
What's cracking?
Thank you for coming on.
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit, thank you for everything. Sponsoring this, you know, the samples, we appreciate it. You always show love and support. We definitely appreciate that, bro.
All the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the movement.
Thank you. We appreciate that shit. Hell yeah. And those were some fire samples.
I appreciate it.
Like, for those who don't know, Rob Victim sent us everything. Like, here, just pick. So that was real dope. Yeah, he sent everything in the catalog. And Cheez picked the samples. We gonna say that, Cheez?
Yeah, I mean,
Cheez was the chooser.
One. I guess you know, people might like the way I picked, or might not. I don't know. But I thought it was a dope sample. I thought the drums was dope too, or whatever. Like, and like everything. Like when I go through the samples and I listen to them, like the vibe I get is like watching the A-Team. Watching like 80s, like Magnum, PI, all that type of stuff. Like even from the sound of it, even to down to a lot of it, and even you know, it's just mad. Like that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of like stuff I used to watch on TV when I was a kid. Like, you know, it's like real dramatic and real like cinematic and stuff. So I dig them. I dig them hard body, like for real.
I appreciate that. You got the vibe for sure. That's the idea. Like that was. Man, when I grew up on like Death Wish and like, you know, all that shit, and the music is always what I was chasing. That music in those movies and in those TV shows, like Equalizer. Have you ever watched the Equalizer TV show? Yo, that show's got some shit, bro. And so, like that, my whole idea behind Cursing Cats was just to recreate that type of vibe.
Well, you got it, man.
It worked. Yeah.
It sounds like it's coming off like one of them old big TVs, like the joints, the big square joints that would sit on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so it's dope. It's dope.
Good looking out.
Cypha Omni, you want to open the show real quick officially, since you are like the official show opener?
I don't know the way Jay Bouget did it last episode.
Oh, that's true. Jay was giving competition last episode.
Yeah, Jay got in his Hulk Hogan bag.
Well, somebody open the show, please, because y'all know I hate to do it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of What's in Your iPad podcast. We are doing the voting today on the contest that we just had over the last month of August. We appreciate all the contestants. We also have the man that provided everything for the contest in the house to do the voting as well with us, Rob Victim. What's up, brother? Nice to have you on, man.
Good looking out. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Fellas, ladies.
What up, everybody?
Good morning.
Oh, that's how you feel, Jay.
All right, so from the top, we got J-Man Artist first. Play a little piece. Guess the hint and is refreshed. We all listen to these anyway. So who wants to go first? Thoughts on J-Man Artist?
I want to go first. This one I was kind of vibing a little bit because, like, if you remember the song by Goody Mob and Outkast, Black Ice, that's the vibe that I was getting off that. I was like, oh, touch what I never touched before, see what I never seen before. I'm like, sky high. like that's what it reminded me of. So it's like, hey, it's pretty snappy. I like it. That's what's up.
You know, for me, I look at like two things, like the mix itself and the beat itself. The mix was a little, it was like kind of like, it wasn't that bad to me. Like I've heard some J-Man stuff before, like, you know what I mean? So he's like, his leveling is getting, you know, a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? The beat itself, though, for me, it was a little too different. Like there's a lot of stuff going on at once, and like I think it felt like everything was competing. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yeah, it was just, yeah, that's yeah, like everything, like the drums and the scratching and like yeah, that's what it was for me. It was like it was a little too much going on at once for me, and yeah, so that's what I got from it.
I feel like he's getting better. If you go back and listen to all of the contests we had that he's joined, he's getting better and better. I like the drums on this one a lot compared to previous ones he's did. I feel like his drum game is getting a little bit better. The effects went well. He used my scratch bank. Shameless plug. Shout out to, it was a few people that used my shit. Shout out to you guys, but it's not gonna get you any better points with me, any more points with me. But anyway, I think the scratches and the effects went well on it. I think this beat is actually better than the previous beats he's ever given us.
Yeah, and I kind of felt similar to how you guys felt about it too. It kind of lost me because it seemed like some of the elements didn't really blend together the way that he probably tried to intention them to be blended together. It does have potential in the beat though, don't get me wrong. Like if he sat back with it a little bit more and kept implementing different things and maybe taking certain things out and rearranging it a little bit differently, I think it would have came out a lot cleaner, a lot better. I do like the laid back aspect of it. It does kind of give you a certain visual because I kind of look at, you know, like I always talk about with these contests, I always try to place myself in a different atmosphere and think about where this beat could work or where, you know, after it gets worked on a little bit more, where it could be implemented. And it has that laid back feel. Like I could see this in kind of like a Quentin Tarantino kind of movie or something like that, or a scene, you know, or something to that effect. But overall, it was okay. I thought it was okay.
So for me, I'm, you know, like I'm very, very picky when it comes to things, especially when it's like my own music being sampled. Like I get where he was going with it. For me, it was a little too fast for my own personal liking. And you know, like these are things that you learn over time. With like the stiffness of the drum programming, I feel like a lot of that, you know, like we sometimes rely a little too much on the quantizing. If you lay that, you know, you kind of chill that out a little bit, you know, you get a little bit more natural feel. And I think, you know, like over time, the more you start experimenting with those type of things and, you know, like learning where things need to lay inside the mix, I think, you know, I think you'd be in a lot better situation, you know, like, but, you know, for what it is, you know, like, you know, just more time. And I think, you know, you'll be in a lot better spot, you know.
The next one is the Fingers joint. So let me play a snippet of the Fingers. And just to put this out there, the Fingers is one of those dudes. There's a couple that when we make these posts, the Fingers sends me that beat that night. Like he's super quick with it.
For the mix, like I love the way the drums is mixed or whatever. Like I like the sound of the drums. You know what I'm saying? Like they like real like in your face or whatever. And stuff like that. And you could tell he like glued all his drums together. You know what I mean? The actual drum line though, threw me off. I ain't gonna lie. Like the what he did with the sample. I actually like messed with that heavy, like what he did with the sample, like because it sounds crazy to me, like it's mad spooky and shit like that, and the ending is nuts. You know what I mean? Like to me on this one, like to be honest. But the drums is like the drum programming is just, I don't know if it's maybe it's like a little too ahead of the beat or like the drums itself, like I don't know if there's no velocity on them or something like that, but like it's something with it. But like I don't know, like. Because sometimes I listen to it and I don't like it, and sometimes I listen to it and I do like it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I catch myself bobbing to it, But other times I'd be like, I just catch myself like, I don't know. So, yeah, that's my feelings on that one.
Like how I was saying, how J-Man artist was kind of doing a little too much in the his song.
Yeah.
Where with the fingers, like I know the fingers did, you know, he's constantly making beats time again, and just going in hard 100% as much as he can. And I think he was rolling the dice and it was going good, but I have to agree with Cheez with the drums. It was like, because you sound, it's like, oh, okay, I see what you do, but it's like, it just sounds, it's like, if he was trying to go for 80, was he trying to go for an 80s vibe or 90s vibe or some 9 Inch Nails vibe? Like the drums was just so, it wasn't mysterious. It was just so confusing to the point to where it's like, and it just totally just masked all the hard work that he did with everything else, especially with the sample. Just like you said, the sample part, like that was dope. But those drums, like the choice of drums was good, but just like you said, the way that he implemented those drums was like that was one of the things where it's like, okay, I think you're doing a little too much right there, because that's just, I mean, whatever vibe that he was trying to get, it just didn't translate for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way as you guys too. The drums is what really threw me off, but I do love what he did with the sample. I mean, what he did with the sample was super dope, like super crazy. I kind of felt the same way too. Like, well, I don't know. Sometimes the one thing about the fingers, and I mean, he's definitely one of our favorites. Like we fuck with the fingers heavy. One thing about him is sometimes he has a fine line of sometimes it hits or sometimes it's a little too busy, and I kind of get lost in some of what he's trying to do. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, overall with this beat, I love the melody, but the drums threw me off first.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Everything you guys said, I feel the same way. I think like the sample, he does amazing things with samples, melodies and shit. And then he adds flair to it because he puts his own melody, you know, he plays keys and he gets busy. So he's always spot on with that. But I didn't like the drums either. I thought, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it was too much. Maybe if he took out a kick in some of those spots, it would have fit a little bit better. I did appreciate that. I hate hi-hats, like, but he did some crazy shit. If you listen to what he did with them hi-hats, it was good. It gave that track that little oomph, you know? And creative with the vinyl crackle from the sample, from your sample, Rob. You had the vinyl crackle at the end, and he took that and put it on, you know, certain spots. That was dope. But yeah, I wasn't feeling the drums on it. Same thing you guys pretty much said. That's just my thought on it.
Yo, I absolutely love what he did with the sample. Like, when I have to listen a little closer to see if I can actually hear it, like, I love that. And I've been I follow Fingers on Instagram, and he's dope. He's real dope. But get rid of those drums. Get rid of those drums, and like, I think even to the point, you know, like maybe just a kick and a snare is all you need on that. You know, like chill it out a little bit because it was a little chaotic, right? But what he did with that sample, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. Like he really went in there and manipulated some shit, and I appreciate the hell out of that.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's like you said, when you gotta listen, like, damn, where's the sample? Almost sometimes, like, what? Like sometimes we hear so many tracks with that sample used the same way. It's like, so when the Fingers comes along, you're like, wait a minute. Like, I had to watch his video to see, you know what I mean? Like, where did he put this piece and that piece? You know what I mean? What did he chop?
I call it lawyer ears. You gotta use your lawyer ears. Am I gonna get popped for this sample or not?
Yep. Okay, so next up we have Beatcoin. Hold on, I'm sorry, because I don't really know his name fully. Let me see.
No, you're right. Beatcoin.
Beatcoin music.
Limp Cake.
It's just Beatcoin?
Beatcoin music, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I
yeah.
see. All right. All right, so I guess I'll go first on Beatcoin. From the intro, I didn't know where this was going. I was like, what is this? But I kind of appreciated where he did go. Like, the added sounds to that was like a little bop for me. I'm like, oh, this shit sounds cool, like, together. Really, like, my biggest complaint on this track was the better quality. I wish he mixed it a little bit better. Because I don't know if you guys, like, I know a couple of you probably listen to on the big speakers, and when I put it on the big speakers, it wasn't great quality at all. That took away from me major. But like, could you imagine, like, if those drums were thumping, it would have blended so much better on that. Because whatever melodies he added on top of it, I liked. I liked the way it sounded. But yeah, that's my complaint. The quality was really bad. It was a bit diminished on this. But other than that, like, I think, like I said, if he had some drums, the drums were like, if he mixed those better and added some shit to make those drums thump with the melodies he put on top of that sample, because it was catchy, I think it would have been way better. But I kind of liked this joint. I liked it.
Did he use an iPad, or what did he use? What app?
Machine software.
Okay.
I don't know what he's using, which machine product controller. I don't know what it is, the MK3, whatever, the mini, but I just see the software in the video.
It's all the same software. I used to have
it's all the same software, but I don't know what controller he's using, what actual device.
I agree with you on the mix. Like it was like it just wasn't balanced enough or whatever. And like the kicks wasn't hitting like I like the kicks to hit. I like the guitar, and it was like an organ or something he added over the top. I just wish he would have went a little farther with the melodies. You know what I mean? Like because he already had one loop going, and his melody that he threw in there was like kind of like another loop on top of it. So. Just could have just played over it, because you could tell it sounded like he played that live. You know what I mean? And so he could have just played, but it just made it a vibe. Because what I got off of it, the sound for me, it was like the visual I saw was like it's like a cool little summertime thing, like motherfuckers outside by a pool with beers or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just kind of chilling. I didn't get like because as soon as I heard it, I wasn't like I felt like I wasn't really listening to like a hip hop per se joint. To me, it was like more of like a crossover joint. You know what I mean? Like it kind of had like that type of vibe to me, especially when you put the guitars and the organ in there or whatever. Like it just kind of solidified that vibe for me. But I enjoyed the beat. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty good. You know.
So mixing aside, what it reminded me of that old song, like "I'll take you there." That was the first thing I got. I was like, yo. Okay, he did something right there, and it just got that old, just that 70s vibe of the mix of the day, and it's like I appreciate the creativity in the direction that he was going with the beat. I mean, yeah, you just like the mixing got to come up, but that's my thing. It's like, okay, as long as you're showing that, hey, you're trying to do something creative and roll that dice, hey, I respect that all day. Like the mixing, you can always get someone to fix the mix, but the creativity, that's all on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of got the same vibe too. Like kind of like what Cheez was saying. I was thinking of like a beach vibe, like that. You know what I'm saying? A skateboard or something like that. The beat did sound a little bit flat to me. You know, it definitely sounded flat with the mixing. But I did like what he did with the sample. I do appreciate what he did, because it definitely it sounded different from all the other ones that we heard. You know what I mean? As far as what he was trying to do with the sample, it kind of gave it more of a positive or like a happy kind of a mood. You know, to switch the mood up a little bit as far as how I heard the sample myself. You know what I mean? But overall, I mean, it was okay. It was okay. I would have liked to see him do a little bit more with the guitar too, because I could tell he could probably get real busy with that guitar. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, man, he's definitely taking it somewhere different. So. It was cool.
I don't really want to say this because I don't know, but I don't think like that. I think that was a sample he just added. I don't think he played that.
Really?
I don't think so. At least he didn't show it in his video.
Well, if that's the case, he got an ear. You know what I mean? Because that sample was in key with the,
and it was
with what he had going on. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it made the whole track too.
Yeah,
like,
it definitely like made it like it just kind of made it stand out. Like
yeah, like I could still hear it, even though it's not playing, and you know you want that. Like,
yeah, I hear the organ stabs.
I like the layers, like the way he layered things is really good. And there towards the end, I couldn't help but think of some Boogie Down Productions, some BDP drums there at the very end, and I always appreciate some shit like that.
All right, Matt Marcus.
On the block.
On the block down Main Street, everything was sweet. On the block, on the block, on the block down Main Street, looping the beats. On the block, on the block, on the block down Main Street, everything was sweet. On the block, on the block, on the block down Main Street, looping the beats. On the block, polish my rhyme. Polish my rhyme.
I liked it. It had that old school vibe, which I love. There's nothing wrong with that. He always got a nice vocal sample in his joints. You know what I mean? That fits on it well. My only complaint with Matt Marcus is I wish he could switch up a little bit more. It might be a little repetitive, which is not a bad thing for some people. You know what I mean? Especially if you got a lyricist about to jump on it. It might not be a bad thing. But I just, you know, it's those two pieces you just heard is the whole beat straight through. If he has some more switch ups, but I like this joint. I really did. And I don't really have much more to say. Oh, and this was done on the live too.
I think this is a prime example of like you've got he's like real precise with his chops, right? And I feel like sometimes you gotta let the sample breathe a little bit. You gotta add a little bit more than just the, you know, like if you're gonna use those two samples, all good. You're gonna keep chopping like that, but layer something on top of it. It adds something more to it that you know lessens the repetitiveness of it. You know, and you know if you have a rapper on it, whatever, but you still need to expand a little bit on it. But I dug, you know, like I dig the, you know, like the early '90s vibe of the drum patterns, and you know, like I always loved that. But I think, you know, letting the sample breathe a little bit and, you know, expanding on that, I think it would have, you know, for me personally, that would have made it a little bit better.
Agree with that as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with that as well. With Matt Marcus, I like to see more transitions with his beats. You know, me personally too. I like to see him transition a little bit more because it does get pretty repetitive with some of what he does. But I do always appreciate that he keeps it him. You can kind of tell his style when you hear his beats. You can tell that's a Matt Marcus beat because it's got that '90s, late '80s boom bap, you know, old school feel to his beats, and I do appreciate that. I think if he would have probably did something similar like he did with one of the previous contests we had and had an artist on it, to have them rap on it since the beat kind of repeats itself over and over again and take that vocal sample out of there and have an artist get down on it, it probably would have added a little bit more dynamic to this particular beat too. So that's where I'm at with it.
For me, I like how he got a specific feel he was going for, and he definitely captured it. But for me, like the drum programming is like a little bit stiff or whatever. Like it's like the kicks, you know, when you got like the kick like dum like that, like you know, just make it sound a little more human. I would say, you know, like maybe turn the quantize off or like, and then just play it until you get it right. You know what I mean? Like with some of the stuff. I don't know. I like that era music. You know what I mean? But like I know there was like if I would have heard this joint back in the day, I don't know if it would have necessarily like resonated with me. Like, and I know one reason is like the drums wasn't like they just wasn't popping enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, but like. He definitely he has the feel down, but like for me the drums just they could have just hit harder and just like the program if it was just a little less stiff, you know, like Rob had said on a previous one too, you know what I mean? So yeah.
So yeah, it's like the drum pattern was tight, but just like everyone said, it was like a little bit too tight to where it's like, you know, bobbing it was like, but then when you start playing it over again, it's like, man, it's just. Like it's starting to be more or less bland. It's like I hear this, and the only thing I can think of is, okay, I just pushed start on NBA 2K20, and I have to get ready to select the team and go from there. And that's pretty much it. Or you're just gonna just go to the settings so you can, switch the volumes, whatever the case may be. It's like, it's solid, but it's like he could have done more, and he could have put more flavor to it than just be like, okay, here's the salt, and that's it.
Yeah, even if people like the quantize too, but if you play with the velocities, like if you got to kick it back, you need to play with that. That shit'll humanize your drums more too.
Yeah, especially if you got two kicks going, like one right the other, like it's like
that doom doom. Yeah,
I always do that. The first one I always do it lower than the second one, because the second one is usually like right there on the first beat or something like that. You know what I mean? So like it kind of like, like gives it like a, and turn the like if you go into your piano roll, if you quantize it, go into your piano roll, turn the quantize off, and then grab a couple notes and just inch them back a little bit, inch them back, listen to it, and if you don't like it, undo it. You know what I mean? And then just do it again, just nudge, and you'll see. And even if you play it like without no quantize, you can still go in and do that. You know what I mean? And move stuff around. Like people will front and act like they get this perfect swing by playing it that way, but what they're not showing you is when they go in and they actually go in and moving stuff around to make it really sound human. You know what I mean? So like I would say do that, because you got to feel. You know what I mean? Like, and you got like he got a era and a feel that he want. Like, and I think that's the one thing that just keep it from like really truly sounding like just grabbing, and you know what I mean? So
yeah. And shout out to Matt Marcus too, because he's another one like the Fingers. Yeah. We dropped the post. He sends the beat like either that day or the next day. Okay. Next up is PhD Beats.
I like what he did with it as far as how he structured it out, because it's definitely artist friendly. Like you could tell he definitely structured it out for like a 16 and then an 8 for a hook, and then coming back into another verse. I like how he did it. I like what he did with that. The mixing was a little bit off to me from my ears, from what I could hear. It was a little bit off to me, but overall, the main thing that I do appreciate about this beat is how artist friendly it is. It's already set up for artists to get on and do their thing and get busy on.
Like it kind of got like a little bit of a pre-Mobb Deep vibe. Now it's never gonna be Mobb Deep, we know that. But it's like it's kind of got a little bit of a vibe going on there. It's like, okay, that's what's up. I mean, but if we was going with like say creativity, I mean, I get it. Like there's folks that's just gonna get something to solid work and sample it solid, and then there's folks that's just gonna try to do the whole experimentation part and go with that and roll the dice. I think in this one, like I said, mixing, we're not there, but like I said, mixing can be fixed. Like I said, it's just a solid. There's not really anything that really jumping out for me. So it's like I ain't gonna say that he played it safe, but it's just one of those beats where it's like, okay, it's decently produced, but that's about it. That's the only thing I can say on that part.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was, I actually like what he did with the sample. Like the melody was like it caught me or whatever. And I thought that the beat was all right. You know what I mean? It was pretty cool. You know what I mean? I thought the drums could be a little bit looser. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a little looser and like maybe like a few less kicks. Because sometimes it was just like you know what I mean? Like, and
turn those hi-hats down. Turn those hi-hats down. And for me, like this one so far for me out of all the ones, this one was the most in the pocket. For me personally, because like you can tell he's comfortable where he's working. You can tell he's comfortable in the zone he's in. I don't like hi-hats much, but so bring those down a little bit. Make them feel a little bit more. This goes back down to that quantizing thing, right? Like turn the quantize off on those hi-hats. Make it feel a little bit more human. Make it feel like there's a drummer in the room. And then, again, me, like, slow it down a little bit, a little too fast for me. But, you can tell he's in the pocket. He knows what kind of beats he likes to make. You can feel that.
Yeah, he did this on the MPC1, just so everyone knows. I should have said that before. But anyway, I liked it. The quick vibe to it was like a summery joint. I like how he chopped the sample on it. I felt like you said Cheese with the drums, though. I felt exactly the same way with the drums. Mm-hmm. But this was, it was a cool summer joint. And a little bit like Matt Marcus, it was a little repetitive, maybe a couple more switch ups. But that's about it. It wasn't bad. Okay, who's next? Sty Sketching, right?
I'll go first. So the cadence on there was way too fast for me. It's like I see he was rolling the dice, but it was like the tempo was just way too fast for what he was trying to do. Like if he would have slowed it down a little bit, then we might have something right there. There's that, and of course the mix is just, for me, the mix is like, it's definitely out of place. Like I know he was just trying some things, a lot of stuff, but I just think slow down the tempo, mix it better, and then it also comes down to the sound selection. He put in a lot of stuff, but then it's like it goes back to the whole thing of the mixing. It's like put in a lot of stuff, but it just sounds all out of place. But you probably put too much stuff to where if you took some of that stuff away, you slow down the tempo, then you got a better vibe going. Like I said, proud for you going out there and rolling the dice and not playing it safe. But at the same time, there's just some things that you could have taken away and slowed down a little bit. And I think this beat has some potential.
I thought same thing Jay said about the mix. Like the mix could have been better. I think if he could have maybe glued his drums together, like it might sound a little bit better. It was just like the beat was a little too different for me. The horn that he threw in there, it sounded like it was in a different key. And it was just like a lot more, too many effects going on. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was at with it.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way too. When especially with a couple of those sounds, like the horns, like it didn't match to me at all. I was like, with me personally, I was like that really threw me off. I was like, well, that's definitely a different pitch, different key from what he did as far as the base of his track. Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, I wasn't feeling it personally. It's not my style. It's just not my personal style. It's not what my ears like. But I do appreciate the fact that he was trying to do something different. I think it just got away from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the experimentation of it. I like the idea of trying to expand on something, and pushing the envelope. If you look back at I always refer to old stuff, but if you look at the Bomb Squad, Public Enemy's producers, that first record they did with Ice Cube, those dudes were sampling 15 fucking records for one beat, and finding that melody between all of these different records, piecing it together like a puzzle. I always appreciate when somebody tries to do something like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Tuning your drums. A lot of people don't even think about doing that. Tune your drums a little bit. Your drums hold a key too. Whether you know it or not, they hold a key. Keep on the experimentation. But you have to sit back in the mix a little bit and see if everything belongs there, and if it doesn't, how do you correct it? How do you course correct what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate the experimentation of it.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. It was different. I should say this before, but it doesn't matter. But he used Patterning, that app, He used Cubasis. He used segments to chop it, or was that the drums? I think the drums were chopped in segments. Yeah, and then he used Koala effects on it.
Yeah,
Low Fly Dirt. I don't know if you guys mess with the Rolly Noise app that you could bring into Cubasis, and he used that. He put mad shit on here. He used the KB1 joint. So it was like all over the place, but
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought that was that much on that beat. You know what I mean?
I just say this, like, when you cooking, you can't use every spice. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, and so I just leave it at that.
And sometimes, what you say sometimes, Cheese, too, coin the phrase, sometimes using less is more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like I said, I didn't get that vibe that he used so much on that track from just hearing it.
I couldn't tell.
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah. When you said he saw the head and he was dead and he was dead and he was dead, that actually made a ton of sense to me.
Actually, when you put it that way, it does make sense. Yeah, but
like I've been there, you know what I mean? Like, so
to be perfectly honest with you, if he's using that many things, the stuff that was out of tune, whenever he was bouncing it down, it might not have been out of tune. Because you know how these apps are. Some of these apps don't even save the presets.
Yeah.
And so like if he just opened it up and bounced it from the previous session before he listened to it, that shit could have happened too.
Yeah,
this is true.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially if he's in Cubasis 3. I'm gonna go back and look right now because for some reason Cubasis 3 doesn't save certain shit for me right when I bounce it out. Is this this looks like 2.
Cubasis 3.
Is it still a little buggy?
For me, yeah, it's horrible. I can't do shit in it. But I don't want to shit on them. I might have to uninstall my shit and reinstall it, but it just never worked right for me, even with all the updates. No, this looks like 2.
Cubasis 2.
Yeah, that he's using. Okay, we're last one. SK number 4. It's hilarious. He changed his name based on our contest. Our last one. But
what was his name?
SK Beats.
You
know. Yeah.
Remember
last contest I made us vote blindly, so I just gave them numbers. Well, he totally changed his name to number 4. Because that's the name, yeah. Before we get started, let me just say you get it? Yeah. He used Beatmaker 3, Koala, and Garageband, mostly done in Garageband, it looks like. Let me play his joint right now.
One thing I can say about it is it's kind of the same thing with a couple of the contestants that we've had in this contest. I appreciate them trying to do something different and trying to think outside of the box with the creativity of what they were trying to do. I think he did way too much in this, personally. It was just way too much going on. It was way too many transitions and additional sounds that didn't feel like they fit in certain spots, in my opinion. But I did notice there's certain pockets in this beat, though, that would have been fire if he would have just left that part and just worked on particular spots and pockets in this beat and expanded on those a little bit more. Of course, getting your levels right and your mixing right and stuff like that. But there were certain pockets in the beat where I did catch myself like, yo, that'd be fire. And then it would just switch to something else, and go to something else totally, too quick. It was just moving way too fast for me. But overall, it was okay. I just basically like I said, it's just there's certain parts in the beat where I felt like if he would have just took that little piece and just worked on that and made a beat out of certain pieces in the beat, it would have been totally different result.
Yeah, it kind of did sound like a couple different beats in one, right?
It sound like more in some.
I will say, but you know, maybe this is because I see the videos. I like the bass was the sample. Like he manipulated that shit. I'll put the videos up here for you guys to see. So he took the sample and manipulated the bass, and I gave him the most for creativity. I wasn't feeling this beat totally. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
It's not my kind of beat. You know what I mean? But I see what he did, and so I'm like, all right, cool. And I like the way he placed the samples. Like I'm not a hi-hat person either, but when he brought I think he should lower those hi-hats a little bit. When they came in, I was like, oh shit, that shit was like woof. But I like the way, you know, it gave it a little, but it was just too much for me. I think in that mix, those should have been pushed back. Shout out, because I hear my scratches in that bitch too. Shout out. Appreciate the support. But I think I like the way J-Man used my scratches more. I think it fit a little bit better. I think like some of those on this one could have been played with the wheel a little bit more, maybe. But other than that, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, for me, I didn't know he made the bass from the sample, and I think that's dope. He probably found like a single cycle or something like that and turned it into a whole bass. I love that. That's dope. But for me, the bass was just too loud. Like when it came in, like at the beginning, that like it just you know, just bring that down and you could like stereo spread it so it like doesn't get in the way of your drums. But the drums to me, like the programming was like very, very robotic. And it was no velocity at all. Like, so it was like almost like a machine gun. So like, you know what I mean? Like, and like, it's just, and like the, what sample? It was the, it's like a conga sample or something like that. With those, you gotta have multiple, of those if you're gonna hit them back to back to back. So it sounds like a real conga player is playing them and alternate the velocity. You know what I mean?
Not self-dotted. Like
because otherwise it sounds like, you know what I mean, like a jackhammer or whatever, you know what I mean. I mean the sample itself to me it had like a vibe, and like you said, there was like certain pockets in there where you like, okay, like if you go with it, go here and you take this and you just really like massage it a little bit, you know, so you take some of that roboticness out of it, you know, and you said he used like what apps? You said Beatmaker 3, Garageband, and what else?
Koala.
And Koala. I don't
know if it was Koala or Koala Effects.
Just me personally, I would just stay in one app. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like you add too many processes when you going from app to app to app to app to app to app to app. Like stay in one app. Like for me, like when I make beats, like and this is just me, it's my personal preference. Like if I'm making a beat in Core Gadget, I'm making a beat in Gadget, and like I'm even like putting a nice little dirty mix in Gadget or whatever. Like just so I can get comfortable with that app and know what I can and can't do with it. You know what I mean? But and if I'm gonna bounce something out or whatever, I'm just bouncing out a 2-track or something like that. But that 2-track I bounce out, that's gonna be a sample that I'm gonna like use and chop up and do something like that. You know, I don't know. I just like the whole thing going from one app to another to another to another. Like, it's just, I think it just complicates the process.
You said too a good point. I think it was last episode when you were like, Koala. When I was like, I'll never go back into the actual Koala app now that we have the effects. It's true what you said though. Koala has like a certain sound. I think these apps, almost like hardware, has a certain sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree. Like, you know, especially I love Koala. I don't use it as much as I used to because I only mess with Koala on my phone. And like I'm always like I'm not like moving around. Like I'm not on the trains no more. You know what I mean? So I don't like Koala and Gadget are both the two apps that don't get love no more from me because I'm not on the train no more. You know what I mean? Because I can use those vertically. You know what I mean? But like Koala, like you said, joint it like because when you it's the workflow that gives it its sound because you just resample it right back in. You know what I mean? You can do so much with that. You know, that's why I mess with Koala hard body. I love it, but I just don't use it that much no more. Like,
and then coming from, he did GarageBand. We all know, you know, maybe some of the listeners don't realize GarageBand, when you export shit out, it automatically normalizes the whole project. So
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So it's true with the apps and certain sounds. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So what I was gonna say, like, for the beat, for me, it was just doing too much. With like, okay, you got the mix. And the mix was just loud. Like I said, he was rolling the dice. He wasn't playing it safe. I get props for that. But it was like the mixing kind of affected whatever he was trying to translate with the beat. And then, like I said, it was more effects heavy. But now that I realized that, okay, he used the sample. So I guess when he used the sample as a base, it was like, okay, that's going to be the anchor. And then after that, he just relied way too much on effects and not really, stirring the pot much. He was like, okay, I got this one part right here. That's going to be cool. And then he just sprinkled everything else. But the way he sprinkled it wasn't gelling together. And that's what I got when listening to. Because I listened to lots of times. I'm like, and just like you said, it's like, okay, damn, this is interesting. And it just went away. It just thumps you on the chin, and it's like, okay, and you turn around and they're gone. It's like, and then it's like you gotta slow it down, and that's another one where if you were to slow that one down too, just maybe a couple of tempo two, that could maybe make a lot of this stuff breathe, a lot of the drums and stuff. I mean, like I said, mixing can be hit and mix, but like I said, that could be fixed later on and stuff like that. But that's what I got from listening to it like time and time again.
I'm all about embracing chaos, but I felt like this one was just a little too much going on with this one, and that could be, from the drum mixing to, like a couple of y'all said, like there was a couple of moments in there where he just really focused on, like right there in the middle, there was a kick and a snare and the sample just stuck out where he was like, I was like, ooh, this is like, if he had just gone with that one spot and built off of that, it'd have been a whole different scenario. But I think there was just a little too much going on.
Yeah. All right. So that's everyone, right?
Didn't we have you on Instagram? What was it?
We had M. Soul drop something on the gram, but he never sent me his audio. He tried to, but it didn't work. I told him that the file didn't come in, and he never hit me back. We also had Mind Altering Effects, who's he did an Instagram. He hit me and was like, look, sis, I did it because I wanted to. Use it if you want. If you don't worry about it. And I told him, listen, if you want to be in it, send me the wave. He never sent it. So it's up to you guys if you wanted to go ahead and listen on Instagram. The truth of the matter is I can't put these fellas in if I don't have the wave file. You know what I mean?
Oh, let's just go.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to see what they did, go ahead and check them out. Mind Altering Effects on Instagram and M. Soul. Shout out to those fellas. But okay, so here's the question for everyone. If you had to pick, are we gonna go top 3 or 4? So if you had to pick a top 3, everyone gather your thoughts. What would your top 3 be? And I'm still uncertain, but
yeah,
I'll say
I'm doing mine by process elimination. Like that's only what I do. I just cross out the ones that I just. Oh wait, am I down to 3? I am down to 3. How about that?
So who you got as your top 3, Cheezerino?
I got Beatcoin, PhD, and the Fingers. Like that's one for me.
All right, if I had to say a top 3, I would say PhD Beats, Matt Marcus, and Beatcoin.
Okay.
You know what? I should be writing all of this down.
Yeah,
Hold
I was
on.
about to say. Like,
that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
You got it, bro? You gonna do this? Keep
I'm
track?
I got everybody's names wrote down. So.
All right, tally them up. So I said.
So you okay, Cheese? Let's go back to you real quick.
Yeah,
sir.
Go ahead.
Mine is PhD, Beatcoin, and the Fingers.
And sis, who did you have?
PhD, Matt Marcus, and Beatcoin.
I have the Fingers, PhD Beats, and Matt Marcus.
So PhD, the Fingers, and J-Man Artist.
And Mr. Rob Victim, who do you have, sir?
PhD, Fingers, and J-Man for the way that he just manipulated the shit out of that sample.
Yeah. So unanimously across the board by both PhD Beats.
He got the most?
Yeah, he got the most.
Okay, well, congratulations to PhD Beats.
Congratulations.
He has the brand new APC
shit.
coming in. And that comes with software, the hybrid Ableton Live Lite that I'm sure everyone has 22 copies of anyway, sitting in their drawer. And Tool Room. I don't even know what Tool... I know what this is. Okay. Packs. Yeah, PhD Beats. Congratulations. Shout out to everyone for joining.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, Rob Victim, thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate the support. I'm just going to make this announcement. At We Sample Everything, we're going to start narrowing these contests down to maybe 2 a year with bigger prizes coming, so be on the lookout for that. But we're not going to be throwing as many contests as we usually do. Like, I think we gave like six or 7 contests this last year. So we're going to narrow those shits down to like every 6 months, 2 a year. So people, when you see us throw contests, get in on that shit. Don't miss out. Because we're not doing this shit monthly anymore. Anybody else want to say anything?
Quantize off.
Man.
Or move those notes around and mess with your velocity. Or like play it till you get it right. You know what I mean? Like play it till you get it right. Like and don't think that just because everybody tell you like, yo, I'm just doing this, like I'm doing this live 15 minutes. It don't take no nothing. Like that's a bunch of BS. Like put some, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that people rush, but I'm just saying don't be influenced by people who give you this idea that like it's just so easy and that stuff can be done without effort, you know.
Amen.
Study the OGs, man. Like for real. Like I cannot tell you, you know, like riding around in your whip listening to Gangstar is one thing, but sitting around and listening to exactly what Primo does with his beats, or sitting down and listening to what Dilla was doing with his beats. I mean, you know, like you probably have to do some shrooms and some weed to understand exactly what Dilla was doing. But or Madlib, you just listen to what these guys are doing, man. Like I'm not telling you to copy what they're doing, but there are techniques that they're using that you can apply to your own vision, your own work to make it sound, you know, more professional and stuff. You know, like there's 3 beats on one of my latest releases. 3 of those beats were made on my iPad. 3 of them. So there's no excuses. Like besides the mastering part of it, all of that came straight out the iPad.
Yeah.
You can do everything I could do with my MPC, everything I can do with Ableton, all of that shit I can do with my iPad.
Can you say that one more time, please?
Yeah, I don't think people get that.
People be like really fronting. Like
no, it is a fact. You can do everything that Ableton does, and I would argue that the time stretching in Beatmaker 3 is better than the MPC and Ableton combined.
I agree with you.
It's ridiculous what you can do inside of that thing.
Yeah.
Now, if these companies would work a little bit harder on making sure their shit doesn't crash constantly, we'd be in a lot better situation, and I would be maybe solely producing on the iPad. But I need more consistency. But I love the fact that I can jolt something down on an iPad, and then immediately jump into the studio with a rapper and not have to worry about a damn thing.
Yeah,
you know, because it sounds exactly like what I was making on my MP or what I was making on my SP. It does, you know, it's all the quality is there. You just have to be able to know how to do it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we're at that stage where everyone's shitting on the iPad, you know, like everything new. But it's incredible. It's an incredible tool to have. And even if you're combining it with the other stuff, it's incredible. It's cheaper. It's easier to use, like to be mobile with the shit. Incredible.
Well, people that are complaining about it probably have a studio full of shit and they're mad they didn't spend $900 on an iPad Pro. They
Yeah.
can use literally everything that their $25,000 worth of gear is going.
Right. Right.
You know, trust me, I'm sitting in a room right now full of $25,000 worth
Yeah.
of gear, but I am video chatting with you with an entire studio right there in one little machine.
Yep. Yep. Not only that, like, I think, because I have mad shit too, like, you know what I mean? And just to be able to have this and incorporate it with your stuff, you know what I mean, is crazy. And even the long run, like, the sounds you get out of this shit and you can make out of this shit, like, besides being mobile, being able to take the shit anywhere, like, to be in the car and, you know, someone else is driving, I'm in the passenger seat and I could just pull this iPad or iPhone out and make fucking beats right there is crazy to me. You know, that was my biggest thing, you know what I mean? Being able to, because I can't sit constantly in the studio room, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that, and not only that, like I said, cheaper. Not even just the device itself, but the apps. Some of these software apps that you need on a computer, it is expensive. You're going into the hundreds, and you know what I mean? Where the most I ever paid for an app was $50, and that's saying a lot because I really don't pay over $20 for apps. So there might be 2 apps that I had to pay $50 for, but it was well worth it.
Yep. And one thing that I always talk about too is just even if you ain't got the means to have studio equipment and stuff, you know, just having an iPad. If you ain't got the space, you ain't got the living space. You ain't got. I mean, you could do everything a multi-million-dollar studio could do right there in that iPad. You could go.
Yep. For listeners, if you want to watch this, our link for the YouTube video will be in the description. Thank you to all of our listeners and those watching. Again, all the links to everything you need will be in the description. And for the contestants that joined in the contest, thank you so much, everyone. Rob Victim, thank you again. We appreciate it so much. Fellas, you can hit me a chick on the beat or go to WeSampleEverything.com.
You can find me everywhere at J1StarBeatz.
You can find me at Beatmakeristhesquad or Beatmakeristhesquad.com or YouTube.com/Beatmakeristhesquad.
You can find me at CYPHAOMNI, Cypha Omni, on everything.
You can find me everywhere, Rob Victim, ROBVIKTUM, on everything.